As I stood at the door, my hand hesitating on the doorknob, I couldn't help but think about the past. The memories came flooding back, memories of my son and me, of the good times and the bad. I had been waiting for this moment for what felt like an eternity, the moment when I would finally see him again and try to make amends. As I opened the door, a mix of emotions flooded through me. I saw my son standing on the porch, looking older and more worn out than I remembered. His eyes, once full of life and laughter, now seemed dull and empty. "Hey," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. "Hey," I replied, trying to sound casual despite the turmoil brewing inside me. We stood there for a moment, looking at each other, the tension between us palpable. I could see the questions in his mind, the doubts and the fears. But I knew I had to stay calm, had to stay strong. I took a deep breath and invited him in, trying to sound casual despite the turmoil brewing inside me. As we sat down in the living room, I couldn't help but notice the way he looked around the room, taking in the familiar surroundings. He seemed smaller, more fragile than I remembered. The years had taken their toll on him, and I couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt and regret. I had missed so much, had missed out on so many years of his life. But as we started talking, I realized that he wasn't there to reconnect or to make amends. He was there for one reason, and one reason only, to get something from me. I knew I had to be careful, had to tread carefully. I couldn't let my emotions get the better of me, not now, not when I had so much at stake. I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm, tried to think clearly. As we talked, I realized that my son had changed, had become someone I no longer recognized. He was hard, cold, and calculating, with a glint in his eye that sent shivers down my spine. But I knew I had to stay strong, had to stay one step ahead of him. I had a secret that could change everything, and I was determined to use it to my advantage. "I've been thinking," he said, his voice dripping with malice. "I've been thinking about the house, about the business. I think it's time for me to take over." I looked at him, shocked, but trying not to show it. "What are you talking about?" I asked, trying to sound calm. "I'm talking about the fact that you're old, that you're no longer capable of running the business. I'm talking about the fact that I'm the only one who can take care of you now." I felt a surge of anger, but I knew I had to keep it in check. I couldn't let him see me lose my temper, not now, not when I had so much at stake. "I understand what you're saying," I said, trying to sound calm. "But I think you're forgetting one thing." "What's that?" he asked, his eyes narrowing. "I'm not as helpless as you think I am," I said, a smile spreading across my face. "I have a secret that could change everything." He looked at me, his eyes flashing with anger. "What are you talking about?" he demanded. I leaned forward, my eyes locked on his. "I'm talking about the fact that I've been hiding something from you, something that could change everything." He leaned forward, his eyes blazing with curiosity. "What is it?" he demanded. I smiled, a cold, calculating smile. "I'll tell you," I said. "But first, you have to agree to something." "What's that?" he asked, his voice dripping with malice. "I'll give you the business, the house, everything," I said. "But you have to agree to one thing." "What's that?" he asked, his eyes narrowing. "You have to agree to leave me alone," I said. "You have to agree to never come back." He looked at me, his eyes flashing with anger. "You're crazy," he said. "I'll never agree to that." I smiled, a cold, calculating smile. "We'll see about that," I said. He looked at me, his eyes blazing with anger. "You're crazy," he said. "I'll never agree to that." I smiled, a cold, calculating smile. "We'll see about that," I said. I leaned back in my chair, my eyes locked on his. I could see the wheels turning in his mind, the calculations being made. He was trying to figure out what I was hiding, what secret I had that could change everything. The tension in the room was palpable, the air thick with unspoken words. I could feel his eyes on me, boring into my skin, trying to see into my mind. But I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of knowing what I was thinking. I was going to keep my secret hidden, for now. "I'm not going anywhere until I get what I came for," he said, his voice low and menacing. I shrugged, a careless gesture. You can stay all you want, I said. But you're not going to get what you came for unless you agree to my terms. He snarled, his face twisted in anger. You're just trying to stall, he said. You think you can keep me from getting what I want? I smiled again, a cold, calculating smile. I'm not trying to stall, I said. I'm just trying to make a deal. And if you're not willing to make a deal, then maybe you should leave. He glared at me, his eyes flashing with anger. But I could see the doubt in his eyes, the uncertainty. He wasn't sure what I was hiding, what secret I had that could change everything. And he was afraid to find out. The silence in the room was oppressive, the tension building with every passing moment. I could feel his eyes on me, boring into my skin, trying to see into my mind. But I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of knowing what I was thinking. I was going to keep my secret hidden, for now. Suddenly, he stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. I'll leave, he said. But this isn't over. I smiled again, a cold, calculating smile. I'm counting on it, I said. He turned and walked out of the room, the door slamming behind him. I sat back in my chair, my eyes fixed on the door. I knew he would be back, and next time, he wouldn't be so easy to get rid of. I leaned back in my chair, my eyes closed, my mind racing. I had to think, had to plan. I had to figure out how to keep my secret safe, how to keep him from getting what he wanted. As I sat there, my mind racing, I heard a noise behind me. I turned to see a figure standing in the doorway, a figure I hadn't seen in years. It was my daughter, my youngest child. She was standing in the doorway, her eyes fixed on me, a look of concern on her face. Dad, she said, her voice soft. What's going on? I opened my mouth to speak, but I couldn't. I didn't know what to say. She walked into the room, her eyes fixed on me. I saw him leave, she said. I saw the look on his face. What's going on, Dad? I took a deep breath, my mind racing. I didn't know what to say, didn't know how to explain. But I knew I had to try. It's a long story, I said. But I'll tell you everything. Just sit down and listen. She nodded, her eyes fixed on me. She sat down in the chair across from me, her hands clasped together in her lap. I took a deep breath, my mind racing. I was going to have to tell her everything, was going to have to explain. And I was going to have to do it now, before it was too late. I've been hiding something from you, I said. Something big. Something that could change everything. She looked at me, her eyes wide with curiosity. What is it? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I took a deep breath, my mind racing. I didn't know how to start, didn't know how to explain. But I knew I had to try. It's about your brother, I said. He's been trying to get his hands on my business, on my money. He thinks he can just take it from me, like I'm some kind of fool. Her eyes narrowed, her expression darkening. He's always been like that, she said. Always thinking he's entitled to everything. I nodded, my jaw clenched in anger. He is, I said. But I'm not going to let him get away with it. I've been hiding something from him, something that will change everything. She leaned forward, her eyes locked on mine. What is it? She asked again, her voice more urgent this time. I hesitated, my mind racing. I didn't know if I should tell her, didn't know if I could trust her. But something about her expression, something about her eyes, made me think that I could. I've been hiding a large sum of money, I said. A sum that will change everything. And I'm not going to give it to him, no matter what he does. Her eyes widened, her expression shocked. How much? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I hesitated again, my mind racing. I didn't know if I should tell her, didn't know if I could trust her. But something about her expression, something about her eyes, made me think that I could. $200,000, I said. It's enough to change everything. Enough to make him leave me alone forever. She looked at me, her eyes wide with shock. Where is it? She asked, her voice urgent. I smiled, a cold, calculating smile. That's the best part, I said. He'll never find it. I've hidden it too well. She leaned back in her chair, her expression thoughtful. I don't know if I should be impressed or scared, she said. I laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. You should be both, I said. Because I'm not going to let him get away with this. I'm going to fight him, tooth and nail. And I'm going to win. She looked at me, her eyes locked on mine. I'm with you, Dad, she said. I'll help you fight him. We'll do it together. I smiled, a warm, genuine smile. Thank you, I said. I knew I could count on you. We sat there in silence for a moment, the tension in the room palpable. I knew that this was just the beginning, that the fight was far from over. But I also knew that I had my daughter on my side, and together, we could face anything. Suddenly, she spoke up. Dad, she said. There's something I need to tell you. Something important. I looked at her, my eyes locked on hers. What is it? I asked. She hesitated, her expression uncertain. I don't know if I should tell you, she said. But I think you need to know. I leaned forward, my eyes locked on hers. Tell me, I said. Whatever it is, tell me. She took a deep breath, her eyes locked on mine. It's about your business, she said. I've been doing some research, and I think I've found something. Something that could change everything. I looked at her, my eyes wide with surprise. What is it? I asked. She hesitated again, her expression uncertain. I think your business is in trouble, she said. I think it's more than just your son who's trying to take it from you. I felt a surge of anger, a surge of fear. What do you mean? I asked, my voice low and menacing. She looked at me, her eyes locked on mine. I think there's someone else involved, she said. Someone who's been manipulating your son, using him to get to you. I felt a chill run down my spine, a chill of fear. Who is it? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated again, her expression uncertain. I don't know, she said. But I'm going to find out. I felt a surge of anger, a surge of fear. What do you mean? I asked, my voice low and menacing. She looked at me, her eyes locked on mine. I think there's someone else involved, she said. Someone who's been manipulating your son, using him to get to you. I felt a chill run down my spine, a chill of fear. Who is it? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated again, her expression uncertain. I don't know, she said. But I'm going to find out. I nodded, my jaw clenched in determination. We'll find out together, I said. We'll get to the bottom of this. She nodded, a look of determination on her face. I'll start digging, she said. I'll see if I can find any information. I nodded, a sense of relief washing over me. I knew that I could count on her, that she would help me get to the truth. As she stood up to leave, I stopped her. Wait, I said. Be careful. If someone is manipulating your brother, they may be willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want. She nodded, a look of seriousness on her face. I'll be careful, she said. I promise. I nodded, a sense of relief washing over me. I knew that I could count on her, that she would be careful. As she left the room, I sat back in my chair, my mind racing. I knew that I had to be careful, that I had to watch my back. I didn't know who was behind this, but I knew that they would stop at nothing to get what they wanted. I sat there for a moment, my mind racing. And then I heard a noise. A faint noise, but a noise nonetheless. I looked around the room, trying to see where it was coming from. And then I saw it. A piece of paper, slipped under the door. I got up and walked over to it, my heart racing. I picked it up, my eyes scanning the words. You'll never win, it said. You'll never stop me. I felt a chill run down my spine, a chill of fear. Who was this? And what did they want? I looked around the room again, trying to see if anyone was there. But I was alone. I sat back down in my chair, my mind racing. I knew that I had to be careful, that I had to watch my back. I didn't know who was behind this, but I knew that they would stop at nothing to get what they wanted. As I sat there, my mind racing, I heard another noise. A faint noise, but a noise nonetheless. I looked around the room, trying to see where it was coming from. And then I saw it. A shadow, moving in the corner of the room. I felt a surge of fear, a surge of adrenaline. Who was this? And what did they want? I sat there, frozen, as the shadow moved closer. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it was gone. I sat there, my heart racing, my mind reeling. What was going on? And who was behind it? I knew that I had to be careful, that I had to watch my back. I didn't know who was behind this, but I knew that they would stop at nothing to get what they wanted. As I sat there, my mind racing, I heard a noise. A faint noise, but a noise nonetheless. It was the sound of my daughter, calling out to me. "Dad," she said. "Are you okay?" I nodded, trying to calm my racing heart. "I'm fine," I said. "Just a little spooked." She came into the room, a look of concern on her face. "What's wrong?" she asked. I hesitated, unsure of what to say. But then I decided to tell her. "I think someone's been in here," I said. "I found a note, and I saw a shadow." She looked at me, her eyes wide with fear. "What did the note say?" she asked. I hesitated again, unsure of what to say. But then I decided to tell her. "It said you'll never win," I said. "It said you'll never stop me." She looked at me, her eyes wide with fear. "We have to get out of here," she said. "We have to get to a safe place." I nodded, my heart racing. I knew that she was right. We had to get out of there, and we had to get to a safe place. As we left the room, I couldn't help but wonder what was going on. Who was behind this, and what did they want? I knew that I had to be careful, that I had to watch my back. I didn't know who was behind this, but I knew that they would stop at nothing to get what they wanted. As we walked out of the house, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. Who was behind this, and what did they want? I looked around, trying to see if anyone was watching us, but there was no one in sight. We got into the car and drove away from the house, my mind racing with thoughts of what could be happening. "Where are we going?" my daughter asked, breaking the silence. "Somewhere safe," I replied, trying to reassure her. "But where?" she pressed. I hesitated, unsure of what to say. I didn't know where we could go, or who we could trust. But then I remembered a friend of mine, someone who had helped me in the past. "I'll take you to see John," I said. "He's a friend of mine, and he'll help us figure out what's going on." My daughter nodded, seeming to accept my plan. We drove in silence for a while, my mind racing with thoughts of what could be happening. I was worried about my son, and about what he might be involved in. I was worried about the note, and about what it meant. And I was worried about my own safety, and about what might happen to me. After a while, we arrived at John's house. He answered the door, a look of surprise on his face. "What's going on?" he asked, as we walked in. "Someone's been threatening me," I explained. "I found a note in my house, and I saw a shadow. I think someone's been watching me." John's expression turned serious. "Tell me more," he said. I explained everything, from the note to the shadow. John listened intently, his eyes narrowing as he thought. "I think we should investigate," he said, when I finished. "See if we can find out who's behind this." I nodded, feeling a sense of relief. I knew that John would help me, and that together, we could figure out what was going on. "But where do we start?" my daughter asked, looking at John. "We'll start by looking into your son's activities," John said. "See if we can find out who he's been talking to, and what he's been doing." I nodded, feeling a sense of determination. We were going to get to the bottom of this, and we were going to find out who was behind it. As we started to investigate, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. Who was behind this, and what did they want? I was determined to find out, and to stop them before it was too late. But as we delved deeper into the mystery, I began to realize that things were more complicated than I had thought. There were secrets and lies, and it seemed like everyone was hiding something. I was starting to feel like I was in over my head, and that I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But I was determined to see this through, no matter what. I was going to find out who was behind this, and I was going to stop them. As we continued to investigate, we discovered some disturbing information. My son was involved with some shady characters, and it seemed like they were involved in some kind of scheme. I was shocked and outraged, and I didn't know what to do. But John was calm and collected, and he helped me to think things through. "We need to be careful," he said. "We don't know what we're dealing with, and we don't want to make things worse." I nodded, feeling a sense of determination. We were going to get to the bottom of this, and we were going to stop them before it was too late. But as we continued to investigate, I began to realize that things were more complicated than I had thought. There were secrets and lies, and it seemed like everyone was hiding something. I was starting to feel like I was in over my head, and that I didn't know what I was getting myself into. As we dug deeper, we discovered that my son's involvement with the shady characters was just the tip of the iceberg. There were other people involved, people with connections to powerful organizations and wealthy individuals. It was like a web of deceit and corruption, and we were just starting to unravel it. John and I were working around the clock, following leads and gathering information. My daughter was helping us too, using her skills to hack into computer systems and gather evidence. But the more we learned, the more we realized that we were in over our heads. The people involved were powerful and ruthless, and they would stop at nothing to keep their secrets safe. I was getting more and more anxious, worried about what might happen to us if we continued to investigate. But John was calm and collected, reassuring me that we would be okay. "We just need to be careful," he said. "We need to watch our backs and make sure we're not being followed." I nodded, feeling a sense of determination. We were going to get to the bottom of this, no matter what. But as we continued to investigate, we started to notice strange things happening around us. We would see people lurking in the shadows, and hear whispers in the wind. It was like we were being watched, and it was starting to freak me out. "John, I don't like this," I said, my voice shaking. "I think we should stop investigating." John looked at me, his expression serious. "We can't stop now," he said. "We have to see this through." I nodded, feeling a sense of resolve. We were going to get to the bottom of this, no matter what. But as we continued to investigate, things started to get even more intense. We received threatening messages, and strange packages started showing up at our doorstep. It was like we were being warned, told to back off and leave things alone. But we refused to give up. We were determined to expose the truth, no matter what. And then, one night, we received a message that made our blood run cold. "You're getting close," it said. "Back off now, or you'll regret it." I looked at John, my heart racing. "What do we do?" I asked. John looked at me, his expression serious. "We keep going," he said. "We have to see this through." I nodded, feeling a sense of determination. We were going to get to the bottom of this, no matter what. But as we continued to investigate, things started to get even more intense. We were being watched, and we knew it. We were being followed, and we could feel eyes on us all the time. It was like we were living in a nightmare, and we couldn't wake up. And then, one night, we received a message that made our blood run cold. "You're next," it said. I looked at John, my heart racing. "What do we do?" I asked. John looked at me, his expression serious. "We have to be careful," he said. "We have to watch our backs." I nodded, feeling a sense of fear. We were in grave danger, and we knew it. But we refused to give up. We were determined to expose the truth, no matter what. And so, we continued to investigate, knowing that our lives were on the line. But we were not going to back down. We were going to see this through, no matter what. As we delved deeper into the mystery, we encountered more and more obstacles. But we refused to give up. We were determined to uncover the truth, no matter what. And then, one night, we received a message that changed everything. "Meet me at the old warehouse at midnight," it said. "Come alone." I looked at John, my heart racing. "What do we do?" I asked. John looked at me, his expression serious. "We go," he said. "We have to see this through." I nodded, feeling a sense of determination. We were going to get to the bottom of this, no matter what. And so, we made our way to the old warehouse, our hearts pounding in our chests. We didn't know what we were going to find, but we were ready for anything. As we approached the warehouse, I could feel my heart racing. What were we going to find? Was it going to be the answer to all our questions? Or was it going to be something much more sinister? I didn't know, but I was ready to find out. As we entered the warehouse, I saw a figure waiting for us in the shadows. "Welcome," the figure said, its voice low and menacing. I felt a chill run down my spine. Who was this? And what did they want? As the figure stepped forward, I saw that it was my son, his eyes filled with a mixture of guilt and shame. "I'm sorry, Dad," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I was in over my head, and I didn't know how to get out. I felt a surge of emotions, a mix of anger, sadness, and relief. I had been worried about my son for so long, and now I finally knew the truth. "Why did you do it?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I was in debt, and I needed the money," he said. I didn't know what else to do. I shook my head, feeling a sense of disappointment. "You should have come to me," I said. "I would have helped you." My son nodded, tears streaming down his face. "I know, Dad. I'm sorry." I took a deep breath, trying to calm down. I knew that I had to forgive my son, for his sake and for mine. "I forgive you," I said. "But you need to make things right. You need to face the consequences of your actions." My son nodded, a look of determination on his face. "I will, Dad. I promise." As we stood there, I saw the figure of John approaching us. "It's over," he said, a smile on his face. "We have all the evidence we need to bring them down." I felt a surge of relief, knowing that the nightmare was finally over. The people who had been manipulating my son, who had been threatening us, were finally going to face justice. As we walked out of the warehouse, I saw the police waiting for us. They had been working with John, and they had finally gathered enough evidence to make the arrests. I watched as they took my son's accomplices away, feeling a sense of satisfaction. Justice had been served, and my family was finally safe. As we walked back to our car, I put my arm around my son. "We'll get through this together," I said. "We'll rebuild and move on." My son nodded, a smile on his face. "Thank you, Dad," he said. "I love you." I smiled, feeling a sense of pride and love. "I love you too, son," I said. "We'll always be there for each other." As we drove away, I felt a sense of closure. The nightmare was finally over, and my family was finally safe. We had faced our fears and overcome them, and we were stronger because of it. I knew that there would be challenges ahead, but I was ready to face them. I was ready to rebuild and move on, to create a better future for my family. And as we drove into the sunset, I felt a sense of hope and renewal. We had been through hell and back, but we had made it out alive. And as we looked to the future, I knew that anything was possible.